A terrible tragedy in Barcelona, Safon's death. Paris Saint-Germain fans demand to release the Russian goalkeeper for the match against Liverpool. His game against Rennes surprised the Parisians, and Bayern Munich suffered a shocking defeat. However, none of the competitors were able to take advantage of this disgrace. Now let's discuss what kind of madness happened yesterday in the Bundesliga. Friends, this is a dose of football and a hot selection of the most interesting news at this hour. Friends, I apologize to you for the short timing of this video. I didn't make it to the top 10 today. I got a little sick and it was very difficult to record this video. Nevertheless, I couldn't leave you without any dose of football, so catch the top 7. Of course, I'm counting on your support. I really want to see 5,000 likes under this video. And of course, following our good tradition, I wish you a pleasant appetite and a pleasant viewing. Possibly this summer, Juventus are expecting interesting changes, which will put an end to the crisis in Turin. I'm only bothered by the financial side, but everything is in order. It's no secret that Ben Connor wants to update the roster before the start of the next season. This one, as we see, did not justify himself. The players simply don't have the desire to fight for the Juventus emblem, which the team's head coach recently spoke about publicly. The management plans to strengthen the central and attacking lines. First and foremost, there's talk of buying Randal Kolumani and selling Dusan Vlahovic, but that's not all. According to the portal, the Turinians also want to buy Ademola Lookman and Mario Retegui from Atalanta. There should be no problem with the first transfer, as the Nigerian has fallen out with Gianpiero Gasperini and would like to leave the club. This eases the work of Juventus' sports department, but everything will depend directly on the player's desire to move to Turin. In turn, Retegui could have ended up at Juventus last summer, but then the Italian's transfer depended on Arkadiusz Milik's departure. He suffered a serious injury, and the deal fell through. Possibly, previous contacts increased the likelihood of a new deal being concluded. The newspaper also wrote about Juventus' desire to finalize the transfer of Ederson, but there are many contenders for the Brazilian, and the Turin team is clearly losing. Juventus will focus on their upcoming match against Atalanta. And this triggers memories of recent news about the possible, I emphasize, possible appointment of Gianpiero Gasperini as the head coach of the Turin team. They said that the Italian has long dreamed of the coaching chair of Juventus, and there is a high probability of his dream coming true this summer. Then it explains why the leadership of the Turin team is actively preparing to work on the transfers of Atalanta players. Only the presence of Ademola Lookman casts a shadow of doubt on this theory, as the Nigerian is only leaving Atalanta because of Gasperini. And it's unlikely to make sense if he moves to Juventus, which will become the next place of work for his nemesis. Nevertheless, Gasperini's rule should put an end to the long-standing crisis of the Turinians. Having old acquaintances under his wing can help him adapt Juventus to his style of play more quickly. Last summer, or to be more precise, a few months before the end of the season, Jurgen Klopp made a difficult decision for all Liverpool fans. The German announced that he is spending his last year at the helm with the Reds. In the summer, he said goodbye to the fans at Anfield and brightly presented the new coach to the fans, making a unique gift to him. The Dutchman came and worked so well that the team didn't even notice the departure of the man who had been leading them for 9 years. In his first season, Arne Slot almost guaranteed himself the championship title at the start of spring. However, this summer, Jurgen Klopp may end up in Liverpool again. The German is not planning to replace his successful Dutch colleague. He has a contract with Red Bull that will be valid for almost 4 years. And Klopp is not in a hurry to return to coaching. This matter is too exhausting. So what purpose does German serve in Liverpool? It's straightforward here. Klopp believes that the victory in the Premier League is practically a done deal, and he is planning to attend the Champions Parade of the Scousers. Yes, I plan to be in Liverpool at that time, but I will not be on the bus, but next to the people I saw while on the bus during the previous Liverpool parade, next to the fans. I think I'll come to the last game. Honestly, I wouldn't want to come earlier, because I don't want to jinx it. If I'm at the stadium, they might lose, so I'll come when everything is decided, said the former scout leader. As you can see, he doesn't claim Slot's place. He even pays respect to his predecessor. Coming to the championship parade, the fans will be happy to have such a person in their circle. and the German himself can truly enjoy the success of his former team without all these accompanying coaching experiences. In one of the recent issues, there was a story about how artificial intelligence predicted the golden ball for Lamine and Malieu, who will receive it in Real Madrid's football. As it was called before this, the footballer himself stated the categorical impossibility of this transfer. But Luis Figo also swore his love for the Catalan club and then made one of the most treacherous transfers in football history. Nevertheless, in the near future, no transfers of players from Barcelona to Real Madrid are expected. At least the world media do not say anything about this. However, there is a chance for a Madrid footballer to move to the Catalan capital this summer. Which of the current Real players is capable of such a move? Believe me, you know him well. Barcelona has clear problems with one of the positions this season, specifically with the goalkeeper position. Marc-Andre ter Stegen got injured, which is why the inexperienced Iñaki Peña stepped into the goal frame and was forced to return from retirement to the ranks with Chesney. After a series of events, it was the Pole who dealt with the main goalkeeper of the Catalans. And, not counting a couple of cuts at the start, he is doing well with his role so far. But let's not forget about the age of Chesnogo, the trauma of Ershetigen, and the inexperience of Penny. We get that Barcelona really should consider strengthening their goalkeeper position this coming summer. And in the not-so-distant city of Madrid, a certain Andre Lunin is just sitting on the bench. According to Defensa Central, the president of Barcelona recently spoke with the goalkeeper's agent and asked about the possibility of his client's transfer. Only time will tell if this transfer will happen, but Barca will not dwell on the purchase of Lunin if they get a refusal, by the way. Probably there are many goalkeepers on the club's shortlist, and one of them is Lunin's compatriot, who is currently playing for Benfica. In the last round of the Champions League, Anatoly Trubin performed well in the match against Barcelona. Puskai let one ball in after a ricochet. Apparently, at that moment, or maybe earlier, he interested the leadership of the Catalans, since he is now considered one of the contenders to join their ranks. But Barcelona is not the only one who noticed Trubin's talent. As I said yesterday, Manchester City is also looking at him. At the same time, it should be said that the future and occupancy in Barcelona remains uncertain. He lost the fight to the smoking pensioner and may generally become the third choice of coach after the return of Ter Stegen, who has already joined the training on the lawn. According to rumors, Peña is counting on a return to Galatasaray, for which he has already played on loan. But there is no information about whether the club itself is interested in the Spaniard's transfer. Two star forwards of Real Madrid were missing on the field in the match against Atletico Madrid. Neither Vinicius nor Mbappe did anything to even the score for the team's victory. Other players withdrew from the match. The outcome was determined by individual skill. Rodrigo went down the right flank, got past Atletico's defenders, and accurately shot towards the center. It appears Brahim Diaz then attempted the same maneuver as his partner, but Vinicius and Mbappe failed in their game. Before the next match in the Spanish La Liga, journalists asked Carlo Ancelotti what he thinks about Mbappe's failure. His answer was surprising. The coach didn't mince words and directly stated that it wasn't the Frenchman's best game. MVP played at a low level against Atletico, but we understand that he won't always be in his best form, the Italian stated. Agreed. Such words spoken publicly can set the delicate nature of Kylian. He reacts quite sensitively to any kind of criticism, especially if it comes from his coach. But will this somehow affect his career at Real Madrid? I don't think so. I don't see the point in even trying to drag Savu onto the globe further. In his speech, Ancelotti stated that the form of a superstar is often volatile. Today they are the best on the field, no one can beat them, but tomorrow, successful actions are given to them with difficulty, and they only remind a shadow of their former selves. The Italian said that this is normal practice, and I won't even argue with Ancelotti about the nuances of football life. In any case, we already have the opportunity today to see how Mbappe reacted to the statement of the head coach. After all, Madrid is hosting Rayo Vallecano on their field, with whom they drew in the first round of the World Cup. This is not an easy opponent, and we will have a good opportunity to understand what form the Frenchman is in, if he of course is allowed on the field. Yesterday, there were several interesting matches, especially in the Bundesliga, which definitely surprised football fans with their results. By some miracle, all three of the German grandees managed to lose, with Bavaria sensationally losing to the outsider Bochum on their own field. Moreover, the guests managed to fight back after missing 2 goals at the start of the match. They, of course, were a bit lucky with the removal of Polini, who inaccurately tackled his opponent with studs on the shin. But still, the Munich team should have won this match and not embarrassed themselves in front of their fans. Nevertheless, the competitors did not get any closer to Bavaria in the tournament table. The main competitor of the Munich team in the fight for the first place, Bayer Leverkusen, also lost, and also at their home stadium. But the loss of 3 points is not as scary as the loss of one of the team leaders, Florian Wirtz. At first it seemed that the midfielder's injury was not serious, and he might even play in the return match against Bavaria. But then information came that Wirtz left the stadium on crutches. This is already a completely different degree of injury severity. Borussia Dortmund also decided to support this trend and lost at their stadium to Augsburg. This is the 3rd defeat for Schmele under the leadership of Niko Kovac in the German Championship, and there were only 5 matches played under him. At the moment, Borussia is further away from the first place in terms of points than from the last, and it is unlikely to claim anything by the end of this season. We also need to talk about the events in the English Championship. On the one hand, nothing surprising happened there. Manchester City lost and Liverpool won their match. But what's important is who managed to defeat the citizens. It was Nottingham Forest, with whom they are fighting for the 3rd line of the Association Premier League. Perhaps it would be more correct to say they were struggling. After all, after a single confrontation, the team is already 4 points apart, and that's a solid handicap with 10 rounds to go until the end of the championship. And yet, on the eve of the football match, I warned you, the match will be interesting, a classic game for 6 points. And Nottingham Forest had a good chance of winning. What can I say, Cast, as always, predicted everything accurately. The Passenger continues to confidently dominate in the French league, not encountering serious opposition. Luis Enrique's team has gained such form that despite the away win, many doubt whether Liverpool can go further. In terms of gameplay, the Passengers are now truly at the level of the best clubs in Europe. Luis Enrique has managed to perfect his tactical model. High pressing, lightning-fast passes in 1-2 touches, constant movement and sharpness. Rennes now has a well-oiled mechanism, not just ideas. They fell to the distribution last round. Under Jean's leadership, they dominated the game from the start, with Ousmane Dembele being the standout player once again. The Frenchman started the match on the bench for the reserves and only appeared on the field in the second half, but half an hour was enough for him to score a double. Dembele has long been known for his speed and technique, but this season he is demonstrating something special: stability. His statistics for the year 2025 look impressive or even staggering. Dembele has already scored 20 goals in 15 matches. Not long ago, such figures seemed somewhat fantastic for Ousmane. In his best years in Barcelona, he couldn't boast such productivity, and now he's scoring goals with such frightening regularity. In this match, from the first minutes, Matvei Safonov was playing, and the goalkeeper again failed to keep his net dry. But in this case, something else is more important. The main thing is, he played the match with incredible confidence. This was obvious not only to me, but also to the fans of Passage, who are now demanding that Safonov be in the starting lineup for the return match against Liverpool. And it's not surprising. In the first game, Donnarumma missed after the only strike on goal. It's far from the first time that the Italian loses concentration at key moments. Of course, it's too early to call Safonova fully prepared for such serious confrontations. He hasn't played Champions League playoffs against teams as good as Liverpool, but in the match against Rennes, he showed that his self-confidence and assurance on the line are at the highest level. He interacted skillfully with the defenders, was not afraid to come out for interceptions, and saved the team several times in difficult situations. The only question is whether he has enough experience and cool-headedness to cope with the pressure in the key game of the season. Tragic news came from the Catalan capital on Saturday evening. Carles Minyar Garcia, one of Barcelona's medical staff, passed away before the game with Sosuna. It was simply a devastating event for the entire Catalan club. Carles was only 40 years old, and no one could even predict his sudden death, the details of which are not reported. According to the Spanish press, the players were so shocked that they couldn't gather their thoughts and refused to go on the field. It was decided to postpone the game for an indefinite period. Barcelona deeply regrets to announce the passing of the first team's doctor, Carlos Minyar Garcia, this evening. In connection with this, the match between Barcelona and Osasuna has been postponed to a later date. The board of directors of Barcelona and all the staff expressed their deepest condolences to his family and friends at this difficult time, according to the club's statement. Spanish media report that Minyar was friendly with all the team players. He was specifically responsible for providing emergency medical assistance to footballers during matches. Just recently, Minyar lifted Gavi on his feet after the midfielder received a blow to the head in a match against Soloves. That was just over a month ago. Now his untimely demise has become known. It is also reported that the night before, the doctor had celebrated with the team, went to his room, and died in his sleep. Many of the footballers couldn't believe what had happened. Just a few hours ago, everything was fine. The usual preparation for the match was going on. Nothing foretold trouble, but then the team was shocked by such an event. Pedro said he still can't believe it. La Minimal also reacted to the news of Minyar Garcia's death. Ronald Taroja left the club base in tears. Many players are struggling currently. And I express my condolences to all members of the doctor's family. It's a tragic day in Catalonia.